All right, we are live. This is promotional media. I am here with Ethabo, the
Yes, sir.
Tech9 Ninja. This man is he's going to be a fantastic talk to, right? Watch. Please, if you can, introduce yourself. Let everybody know kind of where they can find you, stuff like that.
My name is Eric Ethabo Jackson. I am the self-proclaimed security guard, bodyguard, ninja for Strange Music and others. Started off with X-Rated. We Strange Block. We started off with Block Star Evolution. Y'all see that right there? But that's where we started. You can find me on all social medias. Ethabo Jackson, Ethabo Jackson. I'm everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere. Follow me on everything. Follow me everywhere. Same name everywhere.
I noticed, at least in our early conversation before we went live, and then I noticed you left one streaming service out, and you said when you were on, so no TikTok.
No TikTok. So yeah, that whole little stunt they pulled, I didn't want to participate. So
Got
I
it.
deleted it. I deleted it that day like everybody else did. And I don't remember my password. So
Oh no, dude, that's terrible. Is
my
that the only
TikTok
reason?
is pretty much. And then I just, I deleted it. I don't like playing games, man. It's gone. They said
Right.
it was gone, and they said it was going to be back, and it was supposed to be gone a couple days ago or something, right? Like, it's not that big a deal. It's hella not. And it was just another some more stuff to keep up with, man. I let it go. It's still there though. If you want to go look at there's still footage on there. The backflip is on there, so it's still
I
some
know,
stuff
dude.
on my
That back.
TikTok.
that that was amazing, man. That was really one of the best things I've seen on the internet in such a long time when that happened, bro. I'm like, no, this dude is a gangster, like for real. He just caught that dude. It was amazing. It was amazing.
That was
So
super
actually,
random.
yeah, let me ask about that then. You're on stage. What happens like when you see this? What's going through your mind, man? How'd you catch him so quick? And also because some people on here might not know what did happen.
So it was actually it was 419. April 19th, the day before 420, we were doing a quick run through California and I think a few more shows. And we had a show in Humboldt County. Real nice place. Love fucking Humboldt. Love Humboldt. Really nice place. I love it up there. They got the good herbery. We had a show. The show went really good. It was packed. That place didn't have a barricade. So the stage was right there. The crowd was right there. And if you guys ever been to a Tech9ne show and it's just me by myself, I usually start off on the far side of the stage, which would usually be the stage right, house left. And then when Tech goes to the back and changes his mask, then I switch sides to the stage. I'll go to the opposite side of the stage. And when it's me and Muggs is there, then we'll stay on our respective sides. But when it's me when I'm by myself, I'll switch sides when he switches to his mask. And the show went off without a hitch. He was saying his goodbyes. He usually says his little spiel at the end. And I noticed an afro moving through the crowd, like literally a whole head of
So
hair just
you picked him through the crowd okay, damn man, you're on it.
before he even got on the stage. I noticed a whole bunch of hair moving towards the crowd. He's coming, we're on the stage. He's coming. It's getting ready to leave. It's the end of the show. Usually people are going out the exit. You're going the
Sure.
opposite direction.
Oh, but you're
So right, that's what set me off. Is you're
one of
coming
these
towards
things
me.
don't look, or one of these things is not like the other. Right, I
One
got
of these things is not like the other. You're sticking out like a sore thumb, sir, and you got this big afro. So I'm like, what is he doing? And sure enough, he made it to the front of the crowd, and I got to give it to the kid. He was very quick and very nimble and quick on his feet because just as quick as he put his hands on the stage and hopped up there and spun around, I took two steps, and like I said, it was just I took two steps, and for him to have got on the stage, got in position, and jumped in my two steps, he did a lot. So
Your
gotta get a
two
kid.
steps are big too. You got a long stride. You are
Yeah,
large
bro.
and
And once I seen him pushing himself up on the stage, that's when I started lunging towards him, and it just happened like clockwork. He went to, he jumped as in my second step. Just jumped in the air, and I'm like, you're not going over my head, sir. You're not gonna make me. You're not flipping over me. So my first
not
instinct
happening.
was not happening today. So I snatched him out the sky, and in that same second of me grabbing him, I looked down and I was gonna launch him. I swear to God on my kids, he was gonna have a ride. I was gonna launch his ass to the third row. But I looked down and all I seen was like 10 or 11 frightened faces like this,
Oh
like, oh my
no.
God, right? So if you look at the video, I really gently dropped him down like a crane into the crowd,
Yes.
very gently, because I almost launched him, but it was it wasn't him at all. It was the people below him that I was saving, because I would have launched him. He would have got launched like a trash bag. I was trying not to hurt the people underneath him.
Lucky man for sure, dude.
Oh yeah.
Lucky in all kinds of accounts. I can't believe he made it. Like you said, he made it up there. That's pretty quick, dude. He was trying to make a stand. Dude. He wanted to get his 15 minutes. He
Oh
got it.
yeah. He
Not
definitely got it.
recognized, but he
He
got it.
definitely got it. He definitely got it. So I ended up talking to his neighbor. His neighbor was like, "Oh, it's my neighbor." And I actually ended up talking to his girlfriend. His Yeah, his girlfriend was like, "Oh, my boyfriend, he does this stupid stuff all the time." Like, you should probably talk him into not doing that because he could
Or
have got upset.
upgrade to a different person if he's gonna keep
Yeah,
putting you in those
exactly.
positions.
Right. I hope you weren't in a crowd getting embarrassed while you had to witness this madness. So yeah, that was just it was honestly it was all luck. Um, it was all luck. I seen him coming beforehand. The actual catching him in the flip and all of that kind of stuff, that was just pure luck. I just threw my arms up and snatched him out the sky.
Dude, it truly was one of the best things I had seen in a very long time on the internet. There wasn't violence, it was so outside of what was even happening then. And it could have went wrong. And it just everything went right, man. Like you gingerly put him down and all that. And I looked at it, I was like, whoa, you're lucky. You're so lucky that you didn't get like humbled.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that was very interesting. So anyway, since we had touched on that, but I'd like to move a little bit into the early years of Eric. What type of like childhood did you have? Were your parents around? Like your grades, kind of the after school activity, and we'll kind of go point by point, but that's where we're going right now. If you could maybe, what were you like growing up? Were you around your parents, and where, what state, like what area were you doing?
So I was born in East Oakland. I was born in Oaknoll Naval Hospital. It's a Navy hospital in the mountains of East Oakland. It doesn't exist anymore. It's just kind of odd. Navy
That's
bases in right. Navy bases in the mountains of East Oakland. It's weird. So that's where I was born. My dad was in the Navy when I was born. I did have both of my parents. Oakland, that's where my first memory starts in East Oakland, playing with cars, watching the sideshow, just Oakland, watching Oakland life. Nice cars, music and stuff. Just, the outside, the street sounds of Oakland. That's where my memory starts, and just, being out there, seeing everything going on and stuff like that. In East Oakland in the 20s, Foothill and 24th is where my memory starts. We stayed in Oakland for a while. My parents separated. My mom, got a new boyfriend. My stepdad came into my life really young, very upstanding, respectable guy. I have two fathers. I consider him my father, just like my actual biological father. I text both of them yesterday. I love both of them equally. They both made me the man I am today. My mom was around. She raised me pretty much by herself. Was me and her for a long time, thick and thin. Um, just Oakland life, just surviving in Oakland. I saw a lot of stuff in Oakland. I experienced a lot of stuff in Oakland. I remember riding the bus to school in the third grade, and now it's like I would never. It was different. It was a different time. We had to get around and stuff like that. So I would definitely never let neither one of my kids ride the public bus, especially the state that it was back then. Like now, the buses are a little, they got cameras and they're cleaning and stuff like that. Like I
Still
saw
doesn't
some,
stop people from doing stuff though, man. They do crazy
right,
stuff on the bus
the
still.
public buses, bro. I've seen some people getting beat unconscious. Dice games. We used to once
I
I got into high school. We turned into those kids smoking and rolling up and smush guts on the back of the bus and stuff. So, yeah, yeah, survived to Oakland. And then maybe I want to say maybe the third grade, second or third grade. Me and my mom moved to Berkeley, California. So I grew up in Berkeley for a couple years, and that's where the fighting and all the aggression and all that stuff started happening. My neighbors were Latin kids, Hispanic kids, and they were all Norteño affiliated. So I just, knew that they were a bunch of red, and they would come and ask me to come play with them, and then they would jump me. So I ended up having to beat them up. So, I was taking karate at the time and stuff like that. So that's where, for lack of a better terms, that's where the blue came in. Because, like I said, they were all Norteños and stuff like that. And all I knew was to do the polar opposite of what they were doing. So I made a meme about that the other day. These kids can be whatever they want to be and be whoever they want to be at 12. But when I wanted to be a Crip at 10, it was a problem. So Berkeley is where I learned how to fight and scrap and stuff like that. And just taking the bus to school, and I was actually going to a Christian school, um, third grade. And contrary to what anybody thinks, anybody who has gone to a Christian or a Catholic school knows that that's where it really goes down. We went to those schools to try to get away from, public schools, the stuff that was going on in public schools, because schools were really like those movies. Like schools was really like in Boys in the Hood. Schools was really like
yeah,
in Menace to Society in the 90s. Like schools was bad. It
yeah.
was really bad, and all schools. So even though my parents put me in a religious school, that was the first place that I saw a gun. Saw a Mac 11 with a 100-round clip in the third grade. The kid behind me had it in his backpack.
That's crazy.
Right. He's
That's
got a Mac 11
crazy.
with a 100-round clip in his backpack. We're in the third grade. He's a fourth grader
Dude.
behind me with a Mac 10 with a Mac 11 with a 100-round clip. Looks like a Uzi. So yeah, that's where we got all of our sexual experiences at and stuff like that. It was just going down at that school. And St. Columba in North Oakland is the school I went to. And yeah, we did that. And I didn't want to go to the private Catholic school anymore. So I think maybe sixth grade, I decided to petition my parents to let me go to a public school. I had been going to a private Catholic school, third, fourth, fifth grade, and then sixth grade, I decided to go try to go do, the public school thing, and got to the public school. Mind you, this is still no, Martin Luther King Junior High was in Berkeley. This was in Berkeley. Me and my mom still lived in Berkeley. I was going to Martin Luther King Junior High, sixth grade in Berkeley. And once again, more fighting. um, what ended that thing is girls. That's where I had to start fighting girls. That's where I had to
What?
start fighting girls. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
Hey man, I
Oakland
fought.
girls.
I will say, my mom had this. I had a bully. I was a very small kid, and there was a girl that was like 2, 3 years older than me, and she was bigger than me, and she used to dog on my mom all the time. Like a lot, dude. It was really, really bad, and it got to a point where she was running me out of the courtyard where we were living in. The apartment went down to the courtyard. And she was running me out, making me go upstairs. And so my mom's like, "Why are you up here?" And I told her, this girl's down there and she's bullying me. She's calling you all kinds of names and saying these awful things. And she's like, "Okay, well, go ahead and go back out there. If she continues to do it, tell her, or if she continues to do it, hit her." I was like, "You want me to hit her?" And she said, "Yeah, hit her." I was like, "Okay." So I went down there, man. And she's just like in my face, and she backed me all the way up into a fence. And she was saying terrible things. And I was like, "If you don't stop, I'm going to hit you." She kept going. I said, "If you don't stop, I'm going to hit you." She didn't stop. I said, "Okay, I'm going to hit you now." And she kept going. I went, what? Dude, her eye whoop swelled up, man. Um,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah.
say this, dude. If it comes down to somebody really threatening, if you get put in a position where you feel like defending yourself physically is the only option, whether it's man or woman, you shouldn't
You
have put
have to.
yourself in that. Yeah, you shouldn't have put yourself in that position to be, you know, defended against whatever. Don't put yourself in a position to be pushed back on. Don't push on people and be putting yourself in harm's way and then get mad at
Right,
the person for defending themselves.
right,
So
right, right.
what was it like
So
fighting girls?
I got to sixth grade, and it was different. Like I said, I had been going to a private school, and it was different. And I want to say a couple of weeks into the school year, um, I don't remember why, or I got into it with some girl. I'm not sure why, but back then the Doc Martens were called Jodeci boots. I'm aging myself, telling you guys how old we are.
Yeah.
The kids wear Doc Martens, but we used to call them Jodeci boots because Jodeci used to wear them all the time in their videos. And she crotch kicked me with the Jodeci boots, the Doc Martens. I took a Doc Marten to the crotch in the sixth grade, and it completely took me out. Like I had to go to the doctor and all of the kind of stuff. Like
Oh
it was pretty
wow.
bad. Yeah, she kicked me hard, bro. Them Doc Martens is serious. And like I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they're a lot thicker back then than they are now. They don't look the
Well,
same as the ones they are
the
now.
material back then was a way thicker.
Right,
Shirt,
right.
shoes, everything, dude.
Everything, everything. So that was halfway through that wasn't even halfway through the year. I want to say that was because I didn't even honestly, let's fast forward. I didn't even make it through that year at that school because that was the first incident I had, and then I had a couple issues with males and stuff like that. But we just fight in the corner and stuff like that. But the second issue I had with female there, it's actually a girl that I was, high school dating, and we had a little, a school relationship or whatever, and we broke up. And I don't know what happened, but we were arguing. It was the whole school thing, arguing, and it was a crowd of kids around us, and we're in a circle arguing, and your mama this, and this, and somebody pushed me from behind, and I kind of like fell into her, and her right hook was she broke my nose, blood everywhere,
Oh,
just
she had a
explosion,
solid hook.
bro.
Somebody
She
taught her
had a
how to fight.
yes. Her father obviously taught her how to throw that right hand.
I love that. That is fantastic, dude.
Because she threw that thing, and my nose, if you ever been punched in the nose, it ain't no seeing, snot, blood, eyes watering, completely incapacitated. So I just grabbed her and just start screaming to the teacher. By the end, the teacher had got there, and I was just screaming to the teacher, call my mama, call my mama. I didn't hit her. I didn't hit her. She hit me.
Come on.
Call my
That's hilarious.
mama. So yeah, that was the end of public school in Oakland in the sixth grade. So then we moved to n- northern California, to Fairfield, Sassoon. We moved up there to the middle of nowhere, and that's when stuff started to get really interesting because it was almost a culture shock.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was a huge culture shock from growing up in Oakland and Berkeley and the heart of the Bay Area to like moving out to, Napa Valley and the suburbs and stuff like that, where everybody's got houses and garages, and we had a swimming pool and all that kind of stuff. So, things were a lot different. I was super culture shocked, like um, even to the point to where high school, my ninth grade year, going to Armio, I had a science class, and I was the only black kid in the class. I just didn't know. That never. It's weird because it never happened to me before. Like I said, growing up in Oakland, Oakland is so diverse. You know what I'm saying? Oakland is so diverse. Like it's just so many different cultures and people in Oakland, and then getting to Fairfield and Solano County, and it's just black and white. So, like I said, it was a pretty good culture shock, and then it was just the second part of that is it's nothing to do out there. It's nothing to do in Solano County. It's nothing to do in Fairfield. It's nothing to do up there. So we just started getting in trouble. We started getting in trouble, smoking weed, hanging out even more. drinking and just doing high school kid madness. Hanging out on corners and doing the whole stupid kid thing. Um, we just did that for a long time until about I'm gonna say uh, 1999, January 1999. Um, the height of my stupidity. I was the kid that all you had to do was tell me that, oh, you ain't gonna do it. Oh, I'm not. I'm gonna do it twice. Watch
Yeah,
this.
right, right.
So,
I'll do it 2 times, not
so
even
thank,
once.
so thank God we didn't have cameras and all of this kind of
Right.
stuff like these kids now have. Or else I'd be cooked. We'd have all kind of footage of all this dumb stuff that I was doing because somebody told me that I wouldn't. So that finally caught up with me in January '99. I was cutting school with some homies of mine, and the homie that was driving and the homie in the passenger seat was arguing, not like serious arguing, but they was just arguing. And I was like, shut up, you ain't gonna hit him. And the homie in the passenger seat was like, you ain't gonna hit dude right there, pointing to some random guy walking down the
Some
street.
random guy. Man, did
Bro,
you do it?
I did. I hit that weed as hard as I could, slugged that bottle, told him to pull over. So this is how janky everything was, and the universe just shows me that I'll be messing up. Is as I'm hopping out the car to grab this kid, it's two kids walking with each other. One of them has a backpack on, the other one doesn't. As I hop out and walk up behind them, getting ready to assault this person, I look up and I see my homie walking in the direction towards me. My homie that I know is on some same madness like I am. So I'm like, get his homie. He like, yep. So I grab him by his backpack and spin him around and throw him into this grass over here. And his partner comes up to my face and was like, what are you doing? And I just right hook him, bash. And his jaw breaks right there on the spot. You hear it snap. And then he hits his head on the ground, bash, and he curls up into the fetal position. All this happens so fast. And I look down like, oh shit. And then I look over, and my homie is like pounding on the other dude, like giving it to him. Like just his neck was swole up. He was hitting him so hard. So we
Hit him in
hopped
the
in the car.
neck?
Yeah, bro. He probably gave him about maybe 10 good hard ones in the side of the neck, bro. When I say I looked over and he's punching him in the lump on his neck. So we hop in
Insane.
the car and cut school the rest of the day and
Sure, you
drinking
guys
and
were
smoking.
exhausted.
Right. All right. That took a lot out of us. It was
Right.
9 o'clock in the morning. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning, bro. It was breakfast time. We were supposed to be at
You
school.
gang banging on eggs? You said,
Right.
what did you say?
Right.
Gang banging
Exactly.
on bacon this
Gang
week?
banging on breakfast. Exactly. Right. Random madness. First thing in the morning. So,
Ah,
yeah, bro. I go to school the next day. And first period, I'm sitting in class like everything was fine, and the principal and three police officers come into class and interrupt the class. And the police officer announces to the entire class that me and 15 other boys jumped this gay boy
oh, why did it?
and and I snatched his gay pride rainbow off of his backpack and called him a fag and proceeded to break his jaw. Me and 15 other boys jumped these two boys because they were gay, is what the police said and what was in the police report. They tried to give me 5 years in a hate crime
Oh my
because the
God.
school officer, the school liaison officer, was a Caucasian white lesbian female who didn't like me. Her daughter, me and her daughter was tight. Her daughter is the one that put me up on Kurt Cobain. I didn't know anything about Kurt Cobain until this young lady told me all about him and put me up on his music and how cool he was. And just so happened that was a police officer's daughter. So she didn't like that me and her daughter were buddy buddy in art class in sixth period, and she wrote this 45 long novel police report on how I'm a gangbanger and my mom is on drugs and can't control me and my dad's nowhere to be found and all this kind of just put it on thick, like just made up a whole terrible Disney movie about me
Terrible
and was trying to
Disney.
get right and was trying to give me 5 years and tried to say that I was racist and I hated gay people and all of this kind of stuff. It was so bad, bro. And mind you, this is 1999. I'm in the 10th grade. I'm in high school. So they tried to give me 5 years for that. I ended up getting expelled from Solano County, period. They physically, in the hearing, they asked my mom, is there somewhere else he can go? Because he needs to leave. It literally was like, is there somewhere else he needs? Because he can't stay here. He can't go to any school out here. We don't want him in the county. So they made me leave the county. So that's how I left Solano County, and that's how I ended up in Oakland with my father. And that's when that's when the second gear kicked in. I got to Oakland, and
Y'all thought
everything
it was
was
over.
y'all thought it was over. But
Listen, man,
that's
it
when I
just
got to
continues.
Oakland, and I started going to Oakland Tech, and that's when I met Mr. Fab, and that's when Marshawn Lynch was in the class lower than us. He was there. I'd see him around. I actually just ran into him a couple weeks ago. He accused me of being on steroids.
Yeah, right, dude. You're
Right,
pretty natural, man. From what I'm
right. And I told him, you got your nerves as big as you are, big thick neck ass. So yeah,
what a
that's
jump,
when.
man. Why do people jump to they always want to go to the most extreme thing that they can think of. They look at you and you're like, he's big, steroids.
Right, you've been taking steroids. No, I go to the gym every other day and I eat like a horse, sir.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
wouldn't. I would agree with that. Yeah, I would never think that you took steroids. No, no way, man. Come
he-
on, man.
he's a fool. He's a fool. He's always got
Somebody who
jokes. But
doesn't know you clearly,
right. I mean,
or does
it's
know
been
you
a
and is trying to dig at go because it's the complete opposite of what you would do.
right,
So they know. Right,
right.
right, right.
Right, I would never spend no money on those. Yeah, I ain't poking myself with no needles and stuff like that. Like it ain't even worth it, bro. Go to the gym and lift them weights, man. Quit being a bitch and go lift that weights.
Facts, facts.
Hit them weights. But
Yeah,
so
second gear kicks in.
second gear kicked in once I got to Oakland. The feeling of awkwardness and the feeling of misplacement went away once I got to Oakland. I was back home. I felt like I was accepted. I felt like I was one of them again. Everything was just, I was popular. People knew my name. You know, I was hanging out with the cool crowds, i.e., Mr. Fab and that whole clique and stuff in North Oakland. You know, shout out to the North Oakland homies and stuff like that. I spent a lot of time in North Oakland. Um, and we just, the madness continued. The madness continued. You know, I had more freedom because now I was with my dad and he had to go to work. So while he's at work, I did what I wanted.
While the cat's away, the mice will
Right,
play.
right, exactly. Because with my mom, you know, she was at home. My mom was on disability, so I open the door, she's right there.
Jeez.
You know, I leave the
Oh,
door,
she's
she's
on
right
it.
there. She's
You ain't
on
doing nothing.
everything moving exactly. So once I got to my dad's house, it was just like, sheesh, this is me. It's my roommate. We kicking.
Right.
So I treated it that way. And which definitely was not the right thing to do at 17 years old. I definitely treated it like a roommate situation, not necessarily like a father-son situation. I didn't understand a lot of things. I was 17, you know. Um, that's why I'm a very strong advocate for what X is doing. To change the subject real quick, I'm a very strong advocate for what X is doing pertaining to the changing of the laws for young kids and minors being caught up in situations. Because I'm a firm believer and I can vouch that my brain at 17 years old is nowhere near my brain now at 42 years old or even at 35 years old. Those are all three completely different people. If you were to split them up and stand them next to each other, they're all three
You wouldn't
completely different.
recognize them to be the same person at all. They'd be
Exactly.
three completely
And
personas.
they probably wouldn't even associate with each
Oh no, they would.
other.
It's because I'm thinking. I pulled myself into that same situation, thinking that my now self and my past self, I would kick the living out of my past self. I mean, I would hate, and I because sometimes I think about it, man. It's not like I hate myself, but I would hate that person that I used
Right,
to be. There would
right,
I would look at that person and have true animosity. Like I want to
right,
put them down, you know.
right, right.
Yeah, so I would agree with that a lot. And just before you on that, I 100% support that man too on everything he's doing with this too. Please continue.
100%. 100%. So, yeah, like I said, I treated that relationship like, you know, it was a friendship. You know, it was just, I was set in my ways and I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So, me and my father clashed for those 2 years very hard. very hard. He was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to do the fatherly thing. He was trying to, you know, do what he was supposed to be doing as he was supposed to be doing. And he, whether he knows it or not, he did it. The little bit of time that I did spend with him made me a lot of who I am today. But at the time, I didn't want to hear that. I was 16 years old. I was set in my ways. I thought I was the smartest, slickest person, as we all do at 16, 17 years old, 18 years
Always.
old. We thought we had all the game in the world. So, you know, um, me and my dad bumped heads really hard those year and a half, 2 years that I was there, and I put a very hard strain on that relationship. I put a very hard strain on a relationship that we're just now repairing now. Like I said, at 40 something years old, I'm just now starting to finally see what he was trying to do and what he was trying to say. And, I'm able to apologize for some of the things and a lot of the things that I was doing and said and the way I was acting as a child. But yeah, we bumped heads a lot at that point in time when I was in Oakland. I was just running crazy, doing whatever I wanted to do. Like I said, I had popularity. It was a lot of stuff. I was driving his cars. I was wearing his clothes. I was just, being a disrespectful 17-year-old. That's just, and I'm ready for it because I have a son now, so I'm ready for it. My daughter, luckily, it skipped my daughter. She's 17 now. She's doing very good, but this little one right here, I'm ready for it. So, um,
How
yeah, the
how old
Oakland.
how old's your little one?
My son is 3 years old. He'll be 4 January 15th. He shares a birthday with Martin Luther King, so that should
Nice.
make him a little special, hopefully.
You and make sure you let them know, like, hey, a great man shares your birthday.
You gotta,
You
yeah, you
better
gotta live up to
hold,
this, man.
yeah, you better hold up the end to that. No joke. Oh no. Yeah, we hope that always, for our
Yeah,
kids. I hope they don't follow in our footsteps in that way. But you're ready, you say. So
yeah. I'm ready for it. But yeah. So the Oakland years, the couple Oakland years I was out there, it seemed like me and my mom was just talking about it. It seemed like such a long period of time because so much stuff happened. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of like far too much for us to talk about. A lot of just me running around in the streets. A couple of times I cut in school, almost got shot in the fucking head. I mean, I almost got shot in the head, cut in school. It's noon. I couldn't understand why my dad brushed me off when I told him. I ran home. Oh, almost got shot. What time is it? It's 12:30. Ain't you supposed to be at school? Yeah, but well, now I know if you're at school, you wouldn't have almost got shot. If you're where you're supposed to be handling business, then bullets won't fly past your head. So
right.
um,
The chances are very slim.
the chances are very slim of getting shot at the head if you're at school and or at work handling business. So that was, a lot of the lessons I learned in Oakland. Oakland is a very dangerous place, especially for a teenager at that age, and especially for a teenager at that age with that amount of freedom that I had. So luckily, I did maneuver through that. A lot of my friends and peers did not make it through that situation and through those years. That was the beginning of the hyphy era. Like I said, I was right in Oakland during the beginning of that, during the beginning of the Thiz pills, when Mac Dre had really kicked in. Federation hyphy had just came out, so it was just a whole transition, like from us trying to look like New York to us having our own way of life and the whole dreadlocks and scrapers and all that kind of stuff. Oakland was its own universe at that time. So a lot of people I know got caught up in that, and a lot of people I know didn't make it out of there. And I turned 18. When I turned 18, due to my non-attendance at school, I ended up having to do an extra year and a half of high school. So once I moved to Oakland with my dad, we did an accumulation of my credits. And oh, you're this junior, but you have the credits of a sophomore. So guess what? You're gonna start over. So once I got to tech, I had to do the 11th grade over again. Right. I was like, this. I should be a junior. I should be a senior actually. So I had to do my 11th grade over again, which made me turn 18 in the middle of 11th grade. So I turned 18, and it just so happened at that time Oakland was getting really crazy. It was a lot of stuff going on at the school. Me and my dad weren't getting along, um, and we used to hang out at the donut shop across the street from Tech, and that's where we would just be hanging out and kicking it, doing whatever we were doing. And a couple of months before I left, a police officer would start parking across the street. And this is when they first started with the cameras and stuff. They first started with all of the hidden cameras and stuff like that. So we're still talking about 2001, maybe. It might have been 2001. I don't even think it was 2000. But yeah, and we used to be cutting school and hanging out and selling weed and shit across the street from the school. And the school cop showed me his remote control to this camera that he had on the dashboard of the cop car, and he's just been over there recording this for months, just watching everything. I'm leaving. I was 18, bro. I kid you not. That same week, I checked myself out of school. After that cop showed me that remote control to the camera on his car, I checked myself out of that school. I checked myself out of that school, and I went back to Solano County. I went back to Fairfield, and I enrolled.
You thought they were gonna come for you, like for real, and so
Hell yeah,
you thought,
bro.
I'm fine. I mean, I'm sure they would. I'm just saying, you were smart enough to be like, yo, I'm gone. I ain't gonna sit here and wait for the shoe to drop.
I've seen you across the street, and I've seen you while I was doing stuff, and I know you've
So
seen me.
you know you're done.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I got out of there.
Why do you think he showed you the controller, the remote?
So, for me having to do the 11th grade over again, it put my credits at a weird space. So I had two open periods. I would only go to first through fourth period, and then I had two free periods, which I would have work experience. So I would go to work. But the days that I didn't have to go to work, I still didn't have to go to school. So I would just be hanging out there. And it was one day, it was just me and him out there. And I don't know how we crossed paths. I don't know if I was walking to go smoke or something, or if he was standing across the street on our side of the street or something. But he was just like, "Hey, you guys know, you should be careful out here." And showed me this little ass remote, like it was a little like remote in his hand, and was like, "You guys should, what the hell is going on?" So he kind of gave me a heads up, because I used to be moving around. I used to be.
Hey, he gave it all. He gave you the entire. He's like, "Yo, I'm about to come after you." And you're like, "All right, peace."
Yeah, so I got up out of there. You ain't got to tell me twice, man. You ain't got to tell me twice. I heed the warning. So I checked myself out of school and went back to Solano County, and I actually enrolled in a continuation school out there called Sam Yeto. And that's the best thing that I could have done as far as schooling. That was the best thing I could have done. Um, that school, we had 7 periods, and that school was a continuation school. So you earned credits for work. So it's not, if I did a packet, then I would get what's called a CP, a credit point. And then you would get a certain amount of credit points, and then you would get a credit. So doing physical, actual work would get you credits. So it was dope. And we had freedom at that school. It had 7 periods, and we had open campus. So I could come first period, leave second period, come back and do third period, and on and on and on. I could leave every other period and go smoke.
That's it. To keep you cool.
Yeah, bro. So I always sold weed. And by that point, like I said, I was 18 years old. I had a car. I had this big blue ass Cadillac, and I was the weed man at the schoolhouse. And so every other period, I would go smoke, and smoking that weed at school got me out of school. Smoking that weed at school got me out of school. Smoking weed in between periods got me out of school. And I would be so damn high when I came back to school, I couldn't do nothing but do my work.
You're super focused. You're like,
I gotta do this. I'm almost done. The teacher, they know I'm high. I gotta finish this packet.
Right. You're like, if I do this right, they won't know.
Right. If I do all this work, no one will know I'm high as hell right now.
Not that you probably reek, dude. You probably reek. They knew you were walking back and like,
They knew,
Wait,
bro.
Grandma
It was to the
Skunk?
point. It was to the point to where my science class teacher, people would come and get me out of class. I sold weed, bro. Like it was the school was really relaxed. We call it the teachers. We would call the teachers by their first names and stuff like that. Like it was a really relaxed school environment. But I think it was it was in between high school and an adult school. You know what I'm saying? So we were all 18 and 19 trying to
Oh,
get our diplomas and stuff like that.
that
So
makes
it
sense.
was
That makes sense why they were
yeah,
chill.
it was really, really, really laid back. So that allowed me to have enough freedom to do what I wanted to do, but that also gave me enough time and freedom so that I would do my work. And like I said, I was there for a year, and I think I got 160 credits in a year. I was working my ass off, bro. I worked my ass off to get my diploma. So I ended up getting it. I got it a year and some change. I got my diploma. I stopped going to school in January 2002. This was my last day of school. January 2002, because it was right before my mom's birthday. So January 2002 was my last day of school.
What
That
what
was
kind
high
of
school.
what kind of jobs were you doing when
Oh,
you were working work
so
credit?
bro, so jobs. I've always had a job. Always. I got my first job when I was 14. I got my first job when I was 14 across the street from the school, high school, Armeo in Fairfield. I was a telemarketer. I think I was making like 550 an
You were
hour.
a
So
telemarketer at 14?
at 14 calling Texas to ask for donations for the Police Activity League of California. Just let that sink in.
Yeah, it's already sinking in, dude. The police, all of it. That is a lot to take
Bro,
in.
them people used to be cussing me out because of the time change too. So we doing it after school. So we talking
Oh,
about
sure.
4 or 5 o'clock. Right. So
You're
we talking about four or
like
five
we're eating
o'clock.
dinners.
We're eating dinner, boy. I don't care about no police in California.
Right, dude. Why do I can't stop calling my phone?
Yeah, bro. So that was my first job, and that was pure madness. That was pure madness, and that was my first job, and that's when I started selling weed too. Think like my second check, me and my homie went like half on a
That
pound
was
of
your second
like
job.
second job. Second
No, no,
job
no.
was
That was your second job
that
selling
was the
weed.
second job, right? Right.
Right. You picked up.
Yes, yeah, because I sold weed all through high school. I always had weed through high school. Once I figured out, because it was different than it was now. It was it was a lot. To be selling $10 bags of weed. You go buy seven
Yeah.
bags of weed. You sell those 7 bags, you make $70. You go buy another 50, 7 for 50. That was our flip. We go buy 7 bags from the local weed man, sell all seven of those, make $50, make $20 profit. Do that 3 or 4 times, you got $100 by the end of the day. It's the oldest game
Yeah.
in the book. The oldest game in the book. So we always did that. But yeah, telemarketer. I was a telemarketer. That was when I was 14. I did that, and then what was the next job after that? After that, let me see, because that was ninth grade. I was ninth grade. I
Yeah.
started
Well,
doing.
really, I guess I kind of was wondering what work were you doing to earn credits for high school? What were they
Oh,
allowing you? What jobs were you doing for that?
okay. So when I was doing that, that was when I was going to Oakland Tech. They were letting me get credit. So that job, I had um I was working at a place called Juice Shack. It was like a Jamba Juice. It was like an off-brand Jamba Juice. So that's what I would go do after school. And I had several jobs in that time period. I was a kid, so I couldn't keep a job. I worked 5 or 6 months and call off because I'm fucking tired or some weird stuff.
Yeah.
So I worked at Walden Books. I worked at Walden Books while I was in Oakland. I was getting credits for that as a bookstore, little bookstore, and then I worked at the Juice Shack place in Oakland. I was getting credits for. I worked at Noah's Bagels down in Berkeley. Was making bagels and stuff like that. I actually worked for the newspaper, San Francisco Chronicle, for a couple days, like trying to do subscriptions in San Francisco, and that didn't work out. That was just hard. And I look like
I
this. You're not
worked.
gonna let me in your
I did
house.
the news. Yeah, well, sure. I guess I can understand that. I tried to do newspaper thing too, man. Deliveries didn't work.
Bro, Yeah, we did the delivery. Me and my daughter's mom did the newspaper delivery thing for a little bit of time, and that's the most stressful job I've ever had in my life. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. If you
And
obviously
you
don't
had to
have any,
roll the papers yourself too, right? Roll
yes,
them
bro, you
and
had to roll them, put them in
yeah, I
the
hated
put
that.
the rubber bands on, you
Or in
had
the
to put
back,
the
yeah, and then
inserts in
stuff in the
them.
back. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, bro. Yeah, those people that want theirs on their porch
A
next to their
step.
front
Yeah, yeah,
door. Now
yeah.
I got to get out the car and walk it up here. You got a long driveway and three dogs. Ah.
Yes. It
So
isn't as
yeah,
easy
yeah,
as people like on its face delivering papers. Like, how hard can that be? Like, trust me, man.
yeah.
It's pretty
Right.
difficult, dude. It's just tasking. It takes so much time to prep the papers and then to
Yeah,
deliver them on top of it. It's double the job basically, and you get
it
paid
is. And
pennies. At least you did back then. I don't know what you get paid now, but
nah, it was
pennies.
still pennies, bro. It's still pennies, and that's an everyday thing. Ain't no days off. You got to get up at 3, 4
Right,
o'clock in the morning every day.
right.
So yeah,
Not
no,
cool.
thank you on the paper thing. So yeah, yeah, I've worked every year since then. It was only 1 year in 2013 that I couldn't find a job, and that was one of the most interesting years of my life. The only year I sold dope didn't work out for me. Long story short, I sold dope for 6 months because I couldn't find a job. So yeah, I ended up getting snitched on, raided,
Oh,
the apartment getting burned down, going to
what?
jail. All my jewelry ended up getting
Just
stolen.
breeze past that. Snitched on this. Apartment
Yeah,
burns down. That. Like,
yeah,
did anybody die in the apartment burning down?
no, front page of the newspaper though. So
That's insane, dude.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. The cops raided the apartment, and they said that from flipping the mattress over upstairs, knocked over a lamp, and they just left it, and the whole apartment burned.
They did it from the
Yeah,
raid.
yeah.
Man, that's crazy, dude. And I'm sure. Did you guys get held responsible?
Of course, of
Of
course.
course, because
You
if
know
it
it.
wasn't for you, the police wouldn't be there in the first place to make that happen. Don't hold their
Exactly.
actions accountable. Let's put it on you because without you, they wouldn't have been there in the first place. Oh my God,
Exactly.
man!
Classic,
Sometimes,
bro.
sometimes, man, that is
Right. Sometimes you can't make this stuff up, bro.
no, it's dirty backhanded stuff too, man. It's
Yes,
ridiculous.
sir.
Ridiculous.
Yes, sir. So yeah, I've always worked, bro. I've always had jobs. I worked all through high school. Um, always had a job. Always had a job. Always worked. Um, that's why I tell people now when they ask me about, how I got to where I am now. It's work. I work hard as hell. I work hard as hell, and I get that from both of my fathers. Both of them. My biological father that I'm named after. That's the hardworking man I've ever experienced or seen or met in my life. He's gotten awards from Pacific Bell when Pacific Bell was a thing for being the most hardworkingest person in the damn company. You know what I'm saying? And
That's
that's
that's amazing.
right. That's big. And he's
Yeah, and
won
it's
it like
actually
two. I
really
think
cool to
two or
come
three.
from a person.
Yeah, I think
Go
he
ahead.
won it like 2 or 3 years in a row. So that's where I get my work ethic from. And even my stepdad, always worked the whole time. The whole time I've ever been around him, his ass went to work. He was going to work. He always went to work. All of the men in my family always work. So, that's what it is. We go to work. We go to work. You know. But yeah, I've always worked. I've always worked multiple jobs,
So
even now.
yeah, I was gonna say. So one question for the now, and then move back to a little more of the past. What job are you working now other than security? Like, what's your 9 to 5? And you don't have to say what
It's
company.
security. No, it's security.
That's your
This
nine
is
to
what I
five.
do,
I
bro.
mean, dude, that's all
Yeah,
I see you doing. So
yeah,
I was
bro.
curious if you supplement, if one or the other supplements the other. Do you work
Yes, they do. Oh
because it's
yeah.
not
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. This is my So I'm head of security at a club down here in Vegas called Oddfellows. So I've been there for about 5 years since we moved out here to Las Vegas. It's a really good group of people.
Odd Fellows?
Oddfellows. Yeah, yeah. It's down on
I'm gonna
Fremont.
send a couple of my people your way, man, just to say what's up
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
dude.
definitely, definitely. Oddfellows down on Sixth and Ogden, across from the El Cortez, right there where they was doing all the protests and stuff the other day. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, and
that's
oh hold
that's
on. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt too. I saw you made a post, man, you got maced. You got
Not
blowback.
even damn the blowback from the tear gas. So they're shooting. They got those tear gas guns. They shooting down the street, but it's windy in Las Vegas. Like you guys have to be
Especially in the
mindful.
on the streets. The buildings are making a
Yeah,
tunnel,
bro. It makes those
like a
wind
funnel.
tunnels. And the
Yeah.
corner I'm on is a crazy wind tunnel because Oddfellows is on the corner, so it turns into a crazy wind tunnel random times of night. So, and I'm at the door. I was at the door that night. It was just casually, working, minding my business, and it's like I'm not
Doing
that
your
sleepy.
thing.
Why are my eyes burning? I'm like, okay, okay, that's not four
That's
times, bro.
funny.
Yeah, four
Four?
times, just random. Yeah, four times. Four times they randomly it just blowback. It wasn't nowhere near where we was at. It was blocks away, but it was just so windy, and they just keep shooting those things. And it's not even like the protesters are doing anything or breaking anything or like it was in L.A., bro. It wasn't even like that out here, bro. It was a bunch of kids, honestly. Like what I saw, the crowds and people and stuff I saw, it was all kids. It was all kids because a couple of them tried to run in the club, and it's like y'all not even old enough to be over here. You gotta go.
And when you're saying that, now this is touching on something that probably wasn't gonna, but just being that you were there, I would like to at least get a perspective of the person that was actually there, at least in Vegas, not LA, but still. Because there was a lot of people that are saying peaceful protests, which the LA ones, ain't nothing peaceful about any of that. I think on either side. I do see the
Right.
police. It looks like that they are waiting for things to be thrown at them before they do some stuff, but that's just from the videos that I've seen. I can't say one way or the other, but it doesn't look very peaceful on either
On
side.
either side. Right, right. And
So,
like you said,
but I'm sorry, you
no,
from
but
Vegas, you're watching. Is it a protest or is it a riot or about to be a riot and the police are stopping it? Like, was it peaceful protesting that the police went a little aggressive on, or was it gaining traction to be more of a riot instead of protesting and the police are trying to step ahead of it? What, in your opinion, was happening there?
now here in Las Vegas, from what I seen and what I observed, like I said, it was more the police that were antagonizing stuff. I don't think it was going to turn into the rioting thing like it did in LA. LA is LA. Okay, let's just put that on the table. LA is LA.
It
LA
just
has been
is.
they've been doing that since mid. They've been doing that for a long time. LA has been rioting and tearing stuff up. Those people have been in unrest and upset for a very long time, and that's how they handle things in LA. Now, as far as when it came out here, I think that the police watched the same thing that everyone watched, and they
That's what I was
expected
thinking.
they
Yep.
expected it to be a nationwide wave of this type of
Yep.
situation going across the nation, which is not it at all. LA, once again, LA is LA and LA does LA things. I spent some
Right.
time in LA and that's just, it's a different place. LA is its own place. It's
Sure.
it's all California, but it's just like Southern California and Northern California are two different worlds, two different universes. We have two different lingo's and everything. So I 100% think that the stuff that was happening out here was the police. It was the police. I didn't see, like I said, it was mostly children. The people that I saw walking with flags and stuff like that, it was kids. It was mostly
Well, what's
kids. Like I
kids to
said,
you? Because kids to me and you are
under
like 20.
21, your
Okay,
ass
yeah,
couldn't
21.
come in my club. You
All
could
right.
not come in my bar. I had to make them leave. Y'all are not 21. Are we 21 today? No, you're not. Get off my porch before you get me in trouble, young man.
Riots or not, or police like this or not, you gotta go. I'm so sorry. Unless there is like a hurricane coming down here, like a literal bomb or
Hey,
something, we can't allow you in.
it better be pure Gaza bombs dropping from the ceiling. Other than that,
Somebody's coming at you like this, dude. Get in here.
it
Hey,
better be some life or death, and then you come stand right here in the doorway until this clears and you get the hell out
sure,
of here.
yeah. Don't even go. Don't even advance inside the club.
Don't
You got the
right.
door, the doorway. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, hey,
So
dude, because you're
it's
held
cameras.
liable on it.
And exactly, and I'm the doorman, and I'm head of security, and it's cameras everywhere. I noticed the strategic random black van parked across the street before any of this stuff happened. They sat there. The police marched up the street. They had their tanks and the dude on top with the gun and all of it. It's a bunch of pictures. It was a whole bunch of and nothing happened. Where I was at on 6th and Ogden, where we had a whole little standoff, and the police came and marched and did their whole thing. They arrested two kids, two children that were just running by. They weren't doing anything. They were just running past the police and they jumped on them. I have video of it. They jumped on them. It was two kids, and then they put them in zip tie handcuffs and marched them up the street like they were convicts. It was two little ass kids, you know. And these cops out here watched everything. These cops out here was trying to lined up to volunteer to work with ICE and round up, you know, Hispanic and Latin and illegals and stuff like that. But I didn't see no ICE officers. I saw a bunch of Las Vegas police with their brand new gear out here trying to get on CNN, trying to get on TV.
They like to put on that like combat riot gear, dude, and feel real tough, you know. And I bring it every time I hear that, dude. I always think back at that school incident in Texas, where all those cops were standing outside, not doing a damn thing, and parents were getting arrested because they said, I'm going to go in and get my kid, and you're not going to stop me. And they did. They stopped them. All of a sudden, the people that want to save the day is becoming the criminal. You know, I actually had an incident today where that happened. Somebody was beating on his girl. And so I was instructed to call the police, which usually I could have gotten hands on myself and it would have been over and fine. But we still need dude held accountable for next time. You're not allowed to be here. You got to go. Right. So I called the police. They show up. I talked to the lady cop. She goes to get the story from the lady. I come back and stay with the guy, the male cop and the dude. And I start, you know, recording, and I'm asked a question by the guy who beat his girl. I'm asked a question, so I answer it, and I qualify it with, dude, why are you beating on your girl like that, man? Like, dude, it's why do you do that? And the cop tells me to shut up, and he's threatening to arrest me for impeding his investigation. I said, sir, I have First Amendment freedoms. I can most definitely say whatever I want to whomever I want to, whether you're in this position or not. Your perceived authority against me is delusional, right? I can speak when spoken to. Now, maybe if I come and interject myself into your conversation, might fall under the realm of impeding your investigation. But when I'm asked a question, I'm allowed to answer it. And then because then he asked me questions. And one, I said, I don't answer questions to him because I love saying that. I said, I don't answer questions. He's like, oh, well, you got an ID? I didn't answer that. He's like, oh, you ain't going to answer that anymore. And he told me this conversation's done. And if I continue to talk, that I'm going to get arrested or detained. And so I said, oh, okay. So I popped up my phone. I said, well, I can talk to my YouTube people. I'm like, hey, why is this cop doing it? You know, and so I'm talking loud enough so he can hear me. It's like, now what are you going to do, man? I loopholed my way into being able to talk at you instead of to you, dummy, you know? And it's just, dude, they get into a position of authority and they think that their authority is over everyone and at any time. And really, the only authority that you have is to protect somebody actually, technically, it's been ruled in the Supreme Court. Their only duty is to uphold the law.
Right.
Period. That's not your safety. Yeah, and that's not your safety. Your safety does not fall in there. And that's why the Texas police did not get in trouble for not going in there and saving children's lives, being cowards that they are. But yeah, they really like to throw in that gear, man, and go out there and hurt the people that are smaller, weaker, in a position to not defend themselves, you know. But when it really comes down to it, man, I see a lot of them fall, dude. They crumble fast, like paper. Yeah,
fast. And that's all I saw. And that's all I saw was a bunch of dudes playing dress up.
Yeah. Oh, I told him too. I was on the phone, man. I'm on YouTube. I was like, this guy, man, telling me I can't talk to people. I could talk to you all day. I was like, yo, where's your clown nose for that costume? Your shoes look a little too small to be wearing that, you know? And I don't think he found it amusing. I did, though. So, yeah. Bottom line, obviously, I'm not cuffed up. Dude didn't do anything. You know, he got put in his position. And then later, I actually because look, man, my response to the question asked to me was a little aggressive. I was antagonistic to a woman beater. I really don't care, right?
Right.
but it is antagonizing already tense situation, and it is just one cop. And if dude tried to fight me, now this one cop has to subdue two people, and so it does leave him in a position of vulnerability. And I understood that, and I did tell him to bring tension to this situation. I do apologize, but I most definitely was in my right to do that. And I
Right.
did qualify by saying just because I was in the right to do it doesn't mean I should have, but I can. And
I
uh
can't.
and he's like, and I know you got the First Amendment right to say what you want. I was like, I know you do. That's why you didn't push any further than what you said. I was like, and I truly want you to be safe. We do need good police. I very much so appreciate good police. And I want you to stay safe. And I asked him, can I shake his hand? And he said, yes. So I went and shook his hand. I said, please stay safe out there. All from the heart for real. But
Yeah.
I don't like tyrants. I don't like bullies. And that's
Right.
kind of what it sounded like you saw was more or less the tyrants. The tyrant side of them were coming out. They were trying to exact authority over and on and against whoever was in their way.
Right. And however they could, because like I said, where we were at, it wasn't even, there weren't even no humans. Like I said on the video that I have, it's just them by themselves. There weren't even any people. As soon as all the people that were there saw them coagulating at the end of the block, they left. Don't nobody want to get shot with no damn rubber bullets. Don't nobody want to have to
Right.
inhale no damn pepper spray and mace and damn smoke bombs and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it was just a bunch of dudes playing dress up, and you can tell which ones. You got 15 zip ties on your belt. Oh, I'm gonna arrest all of them. I'm gonna arrest them all.
It. That's the
Yeah,
guy.
bro. Like
That's
exactly, that's the guy. Exactly. You got
yeah.
15 zip ties on your belt. Why? He's like, I'm
Oh,
gonna
because
arrest
he's
most of them.
ready. He's ready,
Exactly.
dude.
He been
I'm
watching
going
this shit on the news all week.
to. Right.
Yeah, he trying to be a superhero guy.
Right. Where's his cape?
Right,
He
exactly,
traded in his cape
exactly.
for zip ties, guys.
He traded his cape for zip ties. Exactly.
Um. All right. Well, let's move back to a little bit just on the past here. Curious, all this was happening. Where was your turning point? When did you start to really see the light and understand that the thing that you were doing wasn't right, and it needs to change?
It took a long time. It took a very long time. Honestly, um, when things started to change was when I started doing security. I started doing, no, I take that back. I take that back. When things actually started to change, I was a manager at a grocery outlet. Right, I had started doing security, and then it kind of fell off because I was just doing it kind of under the table. I wasn't taking it real serious. I was just going to events, getting paid in cash and stuff like that. So it was just, it was gigs. It wasn't a whole thing like it turned into. So I was doing that, and like I said, it was just gigs. So it dried up, and I ended up being a manager at a grocery outlet. And that was the first time I ever had any position of authority. They trusted me. I was a closing manager. I had the keys. I had to lock the doors at night. I had to count the safe. I was in charge of the tills. I had to count other people's tills out. They gave me a position of authority. I had keys. It's the first time that ever happened to me. So I think that's honestly when things started to change. Now, my habits and my thought process and the way that I did things did not start to change for a very long time. But having that position of power actually made my brain start to process things a little differently. It made me
When you've
start
been,
thinking about,
God, I like that. I'm sorry. That's awesome that all of a sudden authority cops went to other, like what we were just talking about. The cops get to the authority and they want to beat on people. You're
right.
already like physically, you're already but you're beating on people. You're getting physical with people, and all of a sudden the authority comes and you're like, well, now maybe I shouldn't do it as much, man. Only when needed. The perspective and it's so different too with that. That's crazy. But please go ahead. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Authority comes.
Once they gave me that position of power, it was just like, damn, they trust me. They trust me to do this, and I have to stay on my shit. I got to stay on my p's and q's. So I worked really hard at that job, doing that, and That job actually squandered and fell through. I kind of feel like I fucked it up. I kind of, it was situational, but and then the security kicked back in, and the security kicked in, and it kicked in strong, and I started doing a lot of events, and I started working a lot, and I started, um, like I said, once I that supervisor position, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of made me want more, it kind of made me want more. So that I took jobs a lot seriously and started pouring more into jobs and, really, really, really taking jobs seriously. And that the security job was the next job. And I started with the company. And like I said, I was getting paid under the table because I thought that I had stuff on my record to where I couldn't get my guard card. That ended up not being true, and I ended up being able to get my guard card and actually working for the company instead of working for like a we were kind of like independent contractors for CSC. And once I got my guard card, man, I started working every damn job I could get on. I was just doing everything I could to show up. I really was good at this. I was good at doing security, so they let me do all these jobs, bro. And I worked Warriors games. I worked 2, 3 jobs, sometimes a day. I do a, we do a speaking engagement or something in the morning. I'd go do a Warriors game in the evening and do a rave at the end of the night all night or something like that. Just tearing up the streets. I did everything in Sacramento, Oakland, San Francisco, San Jose. I traveled a lot and worked the hell out of that job and made my way up through the ranks and became a barricade supervisor. And once I became a barricade supervisor, that's when they started having me do escorts. So that's when I
Moving
started
from
escorting
point A to point B.
from point A to point B, usually from the dressing room to the stage, or from the car that they arrived in to the dressing room, or just escorting them around the venue. Mind you, we were still, part of a company, so they would just pick me to do that because I was, the barricade supervisor. So I started escorting, and I've escorted so many people I can't even remember. Like used to have to tag them. I used to have to post the events on my Instagram so that I can remember the events and the people that I've escorted and done. I've escorted so many people, like Val Kilmer just passed away, rest his soul. I forgot that I escorted him right after he had neck surgery. His neck was still wrapped up,
Are
and
you
it didn't
kidding
even.
me?
Yeah, bro. And he was at a Comic Con in San Jose. I think it was maybe like a week after he had his neck surgery. His neck was still bandaged up, and he had a scarf wrapped around it, and he wasn't feeling good. But he still came and did his obligation to those people and those kids, and signed those stuff and took those pictures. But he wasn't feeling good, so we had to sneak him out the back and put him in a car and stuff like that. And after I closed the door and I was walking away, it's like, wait a minute, that was Doc Holliday.
Right, dude. Straight up, man.
Right?
Real
I was like,
genius. Real
yeah, I was
geniuses,
like,
dude. Like, come
damn,
on.
yeah, I was like, I just put Batman and Doc Holliday in the car.
Right,
Damn.
dude. You just escorted Batman to his
Right,
vehicle.
right.
Man,
So
that's
yeah,
that's awesome.
I've escorted a lot of people, and once I started doing that more and more, and I became almost a dedicated person that they would have doing escorts, I was like, this is dope, and I like this, and I want to do this. And like I said, I was a
Real
barricade
fast, I'm sorry. Have
supervisor.
you seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
No, I haven't.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. No, I haven't seen it yet. Yeah,
Dude,
I gotta.
it's I'm telling you, man, it's hilarious. It is really, really
Yeah, I
funny.
haven't.
He's like his acting coach or something, and
Oh
their
shit.
dynamic, like Val Kilmer hates him like in the movie. It's fantastic. You should watch it. Yeah. But
That's hilarious.
anyway,
I'm about to
I'm
check it
sorry,
out.
man.
I'm about to check
Go
it
ahead.
out. So yeah, bro, I've escorted so many people, bro. I've escorted Lionel Richie. I held his dog, took pictures with him and stuff like that. He took me in to meet Mariah Carey. Escorted Metallica 5 or 6 times. Raphael Sadiq. I've escorted, man, I can't even remember. Like I've escorted so many people, like so many. I just beyond, you know, beyond remembering because it would happen so fast.
How did you get into that? So is this now? I know there was a company at that. are these that you're talking about under your
No, this is
super
still when I'm
or
working for the company. No, I'm still
okay.
working for the company. This is I was working for CSC. So I was working for CSC. So um how I got started with that is a really good friend of mine that I grew up with back in Fairfield. They used to do security, but it was like independent contracting. They didn't necessarily work for a CSC, the company. They would contract and have, we need 10 people. So you'd bring those 10 people and they would pay us cash. So that's how I got into that. That's how I got my foot in the door. And then once I figured out my record wasn't as bad as I thought it was, then I was able to get my guard card and actually apply for the company CSC. So then once I got onto the company, I worked my way up through the company and, like I said, became a barricade supervisor, and I had a team underneath me. So maybe about 2018, I had a crew of maybe about 15 people, and my buddy that I drove with and I rode with, me and my road dog, it was always me and him everywhere, and he was writing X-rated in prison. And 2018, he was like, X finna get out. Like, what? What? He finna get out? He like, yeah, bro, they finna let him out. Hell yeah, that's what's up. Hell yeah. I was just still a fan at that point. He was still locked up. I had never met him before. All I know was, that was Brother Lynch's little brother. All we knew was these stories and all this myths and stuff like that. And sure enough, bro, he got out. He got out, and he did a speaking engagement in San Francisco. And my homie that I worked at CSC with, that I used to write with, he was writing X the whole time he was in prison. He actually helped him do a lot of paperwork and stuff, helped him get out. He did a lot of stuff here on the ground outside that X couldn't do outside to help him get free. I won't say his name because we're not on good terms right now, but uh, yeah, he's the one that helped me get to where I am. I appreciate him. If he does see this, um,
Even
um,
though you're not on good terms, you still understand where it comes from.
yeah, man,
Credits given where credits due.
I don't, you know what? It's two people. It's two people, and I won't say their names that helped me get to where I am today. And neither one of us are on bad terms, but both of y'all know that I respect and love both of y'all, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for neither one of y'all. Man, I give y'all all the fucking credit. I don't care. I wouldn't be here today in this whole security business if it wasn't for two people. Not X, not Tech. It's two other people that put me in these positions. There's one person that put me in security, and like I said, it's the second person that actually introduced me to X. Whether they want to be mad at me or not, they can be mad. I'm still here. My number's still the same. We can talk about it. I don't care. It's not that big a deal. Small shit to a giant.
I like that, dude. Yeah, yeah.
So, so yeah, he hit us up, and he had a speaking engagement in San Francisco, and that was 2018, and I went to the speaking engagement in San Francisco with X, and they clicked up. They clicked up
All
from
she
there, and
wrote.
that was yeah, and that was pretty much all she wrote, bro. And I would catch the train. I was still living in Sassoon in Solano County, and X was in Oakland. X rode to Oakland, and he had a office in Oakland, in downtown Oakland. His office was actually on the corner, and then it was a Starbucks on the corner across the street, and then Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch's store, was right there next to the Starbucks, and then two blocks up was Mr. Fab's Dope Era store. So how everything came right back around, for me being in high school with both of them to me actually coming back working with X-Rated, and we're all on the same block together,
Crazy.
right? The
Dude,
universe
life.
works in crazy
Yeah,
ways.
life puts you, man, where it wants you, for sure.
But you
And the
have to
best
let it. You have
yeah,
to let it. You
I
have to
was just
let
gonna say
life
the
put you
best
in these
thing, dude, is
positions.
that you gotta roll with it. You gotta roll with it.
Yeah,
You gotta
bro.
recognize what it's pushing you to do and do
And
it.
that's what I learned. And that's what I learned. As much as you want stuff to happen and try to make stuff happen, it's not gonna happen as long as you try and push and push and push. You just gotta let shit happen. You gotta let cards fall the way they fall. Sometimes they fall in your favor. Sometimes they don't. Pick them up. Do it again.
Yeah, right, right. Just don't give up, and it might not
Don't
even be
give
the
up.
same. It might not be the same direction that you want. Like I was trying to use the card analogy because I like that, but I can't. But it might not be the same deck. Pick up a different deck. Shuffle
Pick up
that
a
one,
different
man.
deck.
I
Exactly.
see
That
what I
deck
see
might
what
have
them
that.
cards lie.
Exactly. That deck might have that Joker with the folded corner in there that won't sit right.
Oh yeah, and you know it. Oh, I see it now. I know that's the trick, right? You never know.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
never know until you try it, and I do think that it's good to explore different avenues of hobbies, work, life, people.
Definitely,
Don't be
definitely.
so introverted.
Right, right. You can't be, and it's easy to do these days because we can do everything from home. We can get our groceries delivered. We can shop from home. Shit, we can get weed delivered to our door now. I got some cannabis
No,
delivered to
man,
my door yesterday. I don't have to leave the
that's
house,
crazy. That's
so it's
We
very
are in
easy to
different
get to.
times.
Yeah, and then the Corona thing, that whole 2 years of that madness, it made a lot of people introvert that weren't introverted.
Yeah,
So
true that. Yeah,
a lot of
that
people
really
had it
did.
took a lot of people got stuck like that, because it was so easy. They made it so easy. They made everything so easy in those 2 years, and a lot of that stuff is still available, and some people are still stuck in those ways.
I
But
will say the one thing that I think that the how the and also with TOS we have to be careful talking about the pandemic. Just FYI,
oh, okay, okay,
YouTube. Yeah, we're fine. We haven't crossed. I'm just saying, but with uh with the easiness of it, man, I was saying it completely flipped the workforce upside down. It used to be the job had the power and they can pay you and do whatever, but now jobs are so desperately needed people that you can almost write your paycheck. You tell them, man,
right,
this is how you walk in. You say, this is what I do. I will be here every day on time. Now pay me this. And they're so desperate to keep good people that I mean, you negotiate it right. You're gonna get it. I can't see you, but can we hear you still? His internet. Oh, he dropped. Okay, we'll give it a second. He'll probably pop back on. Um, we had signal problems. Totally fine. Good intermission to say, hey, don't forget to like and subscribe and
I,
share. There we
I
go.
had a I had a phone call. Yeah,
Oh yeah, no worries, no worries.
damn
Um,
spammer.
I got, I got you. Well, I was telling everybody that's not here right now, but hopefully they'll come and listen later. To like, subscribe, and share, and go to his page on that
All that,
quick
all that.
intermission. So anyway, yeah, it flipped the whole workforce, man. It's crazy how that happened. But it did. It made it easier for people to stay home and not work. And I think that when everybody started to get this mentality of, oh, I can survive, not only survive, but I can still do all the things that I like want to and get bills paid without work. They figured it out.
Yeah,
The government, the pandemic, whatever, gave us the knowledge
cheat
and the
codes.
ability. What's
Gave us
up?
the
Yeah,
cheat
the
code. They
cheat
gave us
code.
the
That's what
cheat
they
code.
did. They done messed up, and they gave the lazy people, or even the ones that are teeter-tottering on it,
Right,
and they pushed them right over. They're like, you don't even need to do work. What's work? I'll pay
right.
you.
I'll pay you.
So yeah,
Yep,
that
yep.
that's that was that was an
An interesting
interesting
time
clip.
period. Right.
It really was, dude. Yeah, I said the same word, interesting. All right,
Yeah.
well, I like to try to keep them around an hour. So I want to end with a couple questions possibly, and then of
Yeah.
course your outro telling us where to find you. But I also want to ask, good conversation, man. And I hate cutting them short, but due to editing things, and I try to want to get consistent with them. Um, we can have you on again though, right? And continue a
Definitely.
conversation.
Of course.
Cool.
Of course. Yeah. We still have some. We still got the good part. We still got
Yeah,
the
yeah.
good part of the
Right, that's
story.
what I was saying. Right, I like to. So this is most of what I'm doing these on these initial interviews is more of like an introduction
Sure.
to who the people are that I'm talking to and stuff like that. So all right, well, so you did the X thing, and so now we're kind of moving into where you are now. That click, it was going well. How did you meet Tech in this movement?
So we met Tech. Speaking of Corona, X and Brother Lynch were getting ready to start their tour finally. The entire world's been waiting for. And we did one show in Bakersfield, and I think we might have done two shows, and I think the third show was going to be in KC. And we got there, and the show was supposed to go on, and the lady didn't have our money. The lady didn't have X's money. I don't know if Lynch got paid or not, but she didn't give me no money. So I didn't let X go on. It's not happening. We're leaving. Just dumbass in the morning. I think it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I found this lady hiding in the damn DJ booth without our money. So we're leaving. It's over. X, we're leaving. So we leave. We get back to the hotel. The lady calls the local D boy to come bring the cash. Hey man, I got the money. Y'all coming back? No, sir, my shoes are off. We're not coming back.
My shoes are off, dude. I'm
It's
already
over.
kicked back.
It's over, bro. So I'm not
That's right.
sure if I honestly I think Tech might have got a win that we were out there. I don't know if he knew, how the situation was handled or what happened or something like that, but he ended up inviting us to come eat with him the next day. And I think it was like a Sunday or something like that. So we all met him to eat dinner, and we didn't eat anything. We sat and talked and drank water for like 2 or 3 hours, and then Tech excused himself and went and got on the phone. And I don't know if he called Travis or Travis called him, but next thing I know, he's like, "Hey, Travis wants to talk to X," and that turned into a meeting at
Dude,
Strange.
Heck is
Right?
that's so cool, man. He sat there,
Yeah,
he was
bro,
like, "Man, I'm making plans right now, dude."
bro.
He saw the genius. He probably already knew X's, worth and all that, but he saw the genius sitting in front of him. He's like, "I can't let him go."
Yeah, bro. I kid you not. He excused himself to go to the bathroom, and he came back from the bathroom like,
Yeah,
"Travis
dude,
wants to
he
talk
wasn't
to
going
you."
to the bathroom. He was making phone calls. This dude's
He went to make
making
a call.
making it happen. That's
Yeah.
cool, man.
So then the next day we went and toured Strange, and him and X and Travis had a meeting, and they got signed. He got signed, and they did "Still Right Here," which was an epic song, beautiful song, still touches everybody's heart. Wonderful video. They shot that. They did that. Um, they signed. X got his necklace, Red Rocks. We went on tour. I kind of got in the fold that tour. Tech needed another bodyguard, as he should.
Yeah,
So
he's
one
very
plus two
popular,
equals
man.
exactly. And 1 plus 2 equals Strange block. So
There you go. I think me and Terry, we were hashtagging that out, man. Like, I think before anybody knew that was
so
actually happening.
so I'm gonna tell you a quick story about the Strange block. X had wanted one of his albums to be Welcome to Strange Block. But I took it. I'm sorry, brother. I love you to death. I couldn't. I had to take the I had to take it and get a tattoo before the album
Ah,
came
you. that's
out.
that's awesome, man. I had to go. I did it separate. I didn't even know before, so I got my strange, and then I got my block
There
differently.
we go. Yep, I had him. I got this one in Australia. That's the Australian. Yep. Rockstar and
I
Strange
like
took me
it.
to Australia.
That's cool, man. That's
Hell yeah.
that's that's really cool. So now that you got it inked on your arm, he's like, well, can't make that album, I guess. Thanks. It's kind of like the Josh Herman, man. He was gonna call it "Written in Blood," that song, but it was what is a eulogy now. I think is how he changed it. But he says in the
Yeah,
beginning
yeah.
of the song he was gonna make it "Written in Blood," but then his people came out with that album.
Yep,
It's
yep.
funny though. That's
Got to
pretty
be
funny.
careful with them ideas. Got to be careful with them
Right, that's
ideas.
what I'm saying. You keep them inside, and then you do it, and then you
Right,
tell people, and that way at least you got the proof that you were the first one to come up with it. Because I'll tell
right,
you this,
right.
me and my uncle, we came up with Hella, okay, and out in Vegas because it
Oh,
originated out west, dude. Nobody ever
right.
said Hella ever. I'd never
Yeah,
heard it, and then
and
I brought it.
that's a Northern California slang because they don't say hella in Southern California.
See,
That's
I
Northern.
know I have not heard anybody say that until we started saying it. I can't remember the other one, but yeah, it was it's definitely something that you want to keep, not words. Keep your
Right.
ideas close.
Ideas. Yeah,
Make
keep
sure
them
that
shits on wrap.
make sure you can execute them or protect them because people they try to steal something that they know is going to work.
Oh yeah,
And
bro.
even if they think it just might work, they'll take it.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely.
um well, that's awesome. I've been dying. I mean, I could have always just asked you, but I wanted to do it on camera. I'm so curious, man. Dope. Awesome song. I love it. It's on my playlist, man. It's the only song that I've found with you on it. I don't know if you have any more. Okay. But they love to smoke that dope. Dude, was that a attempt to actually, did you want to be an artist? Are you trying to actually come out and do music, or do you like where you're at, or
I
sometimes
am
you'll do music? Like what's
I'm a
your goal with
I'm a retired rapper. I'm retired.
retired,
That shit's
retarded,
over. Right?
retarded, tired? That's just
So
the
those
Wolverine
songs,
when he said that.
all those songs are old. All those songs are old. I knew that I needed to be on the stage. I knew from a young age that I was supposed to be on the stage. Doing what on the stage, I didn't know yet. Now I know. Now I know what I'm supposed to
Right,
be
right,
doing on stage, you know? But I thought it was supposed to be a rapper. I thought it was supposed to be a musician. I thought it was supposed to be a dancer. You know, we all went through those things. But yeah, those are my old songs when I was rapping. I was rapping. That's a different part of my life. Um, a lot of that was drug and alcohol fueled raps. So
got it,
so like I
got
said,
it.
it's a whole different thing. I stopped rapping when this started making money. When I started making money doing security and bodyguarding and stuff, that rap shit went out. That rap shit went out. Then I focused all my energy onto this. But all the music that's on my YouTube is all the music that I have out. It's a couple of unreleased songs that I do have still. I'm sitting on. I don't
Oh, I
know if
was
I'll ever
looking,
put them
yeah, I
out
was
or
looking
not.
at it on, I was looking at it on Spotify. I didn't even, dude, I
Yeah,
just saw you game on YouTube. I didn't know you had music on there. I'm definitely going to look. I'm
yeah, bro.
definitely going to look.
It's some music on there, some videos and everything. The last
Cool.
video we shot, I think we shot a video. We shot a video at Blockstar out here before Blockstar. Before we shut that and closed the doors at that place, we shot a video there. So my last video, Ain't With It, is me, my brothers Jay Bars and Coke White, and we shot that video here in Las Vegas at Blockstar, and that was our last shot at just doing music. I believe my little brother Jay Bars is still doing music. I think he's doing film now, and brother Coke White is now cooking and doing his chef thing. But
Awesome.
yeah, that's like I said. I got a family. I got stuff to take care of. I got kids and shit like that. So I put my energy into what's making money, and the security started taking off. But "Dope" is actually one of my favorite songs, and
One of mine. I
little
have it
known
on. I listen to it all the time.
little known fact about that song. No one actually knows that, and that's funny that you asked that on camera. Now I can tell the story. So that song, I recorded that song when I worked at Grocery Outlet. When I worked at Grocery Outlet, I was the closing manager at Grocery Outlet, and the other manager at Grocery Outlet was just up and coming rapper and spent a lot of time and energy and money trying to be a rapper. Wasn't very good, but he, had the money and stuff to do all this stuff. So he was making some traction, and we did that song together. Now, I wasn't very fond of this human. We actually fell out. We're not cool at all now. Not even on no good terms. I'd probably slap him. But so that night that we recorded that song, we went to the studio and he changed the beat 4 times. He changed the premise of the song 3 times. So
Jeez.
once I started writing that verse that you hear now, I had an attitude. So that verse is actually about him.
Oh no, that's
The
awesome,
verse
dude.
is actually about him, and that's him on the chorus. They love to smoke that. That's
That's
him,
dope.
and then I put the dope, dope, dope. I
No,
put that on
I
the
knew
back
that
hit.
was you. I knew that was your voice on that
Yeah,
one, man.
yep,
I actually
that's me,
did.
and
I was like, that's him on the ad lib on there. I knew
yep,
it,
that's
dude.
me on the ad libs. Yeah, because it just sounded boring with him doing that voice on there. I was like, I got to do something else. So I ended up taking his verse off because it was trash. But his chorus and what we did on the chorus was dope as hell,
I'm
and
so glad
my
that I
verse was
don't
dope.
hear his verse, dude. I'm so
Yeah,
glad.
so
I'm
I
so
cut his verse off. His verse will never be heard ever again. It was trash. So his verse was, and like I said, that verse was about him because I was pissed off at that time. By the time I started writing that verse, I was upset. So next time you listen to that verse, it's about that guy on the
Oh,
chorus.
not only I'm gonna go on YouTube like immediately after this and look at some songs, but yeah, Dope will be the next visit on that one
Yeah,
for
dope
sure.
is actually that's funny because dope is actually a diss song. Yeah, diss. I got 2 diss
That's
songs on my
so
YouTube.
funny, dude.
I got 2 diss songs on my YouTube, and dope is one of them. Dope is one of them kind of you don't really know, like Party Up in Here, DMX. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
that's a catchy song, but who are you talking about?
right, yeah. There's a message there that you're just
Right,
not getting.
right,
So
right, right.
just on the note of cutting somebody out, now this person isn't cut out, but there's a song by my friend Punchline and Anthony Boggs and this dude like I think he's Mel X I think is his name. And it's called Tickin'. The chorus is kind of like iffy. You know, you can tell that he didn't master it right. It just didn't sound good.
Right.
But the punch comes on the first verse, dude, and it's one of my favorite verses I've ever heard. Like, dude, he just rips it, man. It is so, and the beat is bad. I love it. Like, it's a badass beat. Love it. And then the second one is him, that dude, man, Mal. And I'm like, this dude is trash. So I screen recorded it and I stopped it on his verse, and then kept it going for Anthony. And I listened to that song all the time, absent of his verse, because dude, he's just
Yeah.
whack. He made that song terrible.
Bro, you'd be
So
surprised. One weak verse will kill a song.
yes,
One weak verse
done,
will murder a song, bro.
done. Right. So yeah. Um well, cool. That was yeah, I was always curious about how you wanted to move through the music industry. And
Yeah,
yeah,
no
you
more
always
music. No more music.
yeah. You fit best, at least from my perspective. You fit best in security, man. You look like a type of person that likes to protect and take care of people, not because you're big. Like, you have an energy of peace, but don't try me.
Right,
You
right.
you do have a presence about you, and it seems like, hey man, if like I got you,
Right,
or it's I got you. Like,
right.
you got kind of on that both of the spectrum on that there. So cool. I'm glad they got that off there. Well, if you can, because now you're working these events, before giving your outro on where people can find you, tell us where the next event's going to be and with who. Like, is it going to be X Tech or both? Like, where are we going next, man, that we can go and support?
The next events that I will be at are most definitely X-Rated's got 3 shows coming up at the end of this month with RBL Posse. So as of right now, that's where I'll be with those events. I'm waiting to hear about the up and coming tours with Tech. So I'm not gonna say too much about that until I get the call. But you guys see the
Sure.
flyers and see what's going on and stuff like that. So like I said, I'm waiting for the call for that. But 100% locked in. I will be with X at the end of this month. He got a couple shows, I think, in California with RBX Posse from RBL Posse from San Francisco. So that's where I'll be at the end of this month. Other than that, catch me in Las Vegas at Oddfellas.
Awesome. What any new things that you know of dropping soon? Like, that you can
uh,
say, nothing, obviously nothing that you can't say, but anything that you
yeah, just a regular. I know X's project is finished. I'm not sure. I don't have too much information on it. I know it's finished, but it will be out soon.
okay, so getting it
Tech's
soon.
getting ready to drop that Forest project, man. We're all super excited for that. As they still whispering about that Sibo X and Brother Lynch album. They still doing a lot of whispering. They've been hanging out together a lot. So that's all I'm
Oh,
really waiting for. I've been waiting for that since high school. So
that would be, I don't know if epic can even be the word for it, man. That's going to
right.
be something special for sure. Let's hope the greats continue to hash that out and get that done for us, the fans. For sure.
Please and thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Please do. Um, okay, well, dude, thank you so much, man, for being on here. If you could give yourself one more outro and where people can find you.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate you for having me, brother. My name is Eric Ethabo Jackson, Ethabo Jackson. The spelling just like Michael, Jermaine, and Bo. You can find me that name, Ethabo Jackson, everywhere. It's the same name everywhere. Instagram, Xbox Live, Nintendo Switch, Twitch, YouTube. Type in Ethabo Jackson. I'm going to pop up. I'm going to be there all the time.
And just for the YouTube side, if anybody likes watching people game, that's one of the main things he does on there, is he's a gamer on there, and
Yep.
it's
My
it's
YouTube
always
is
fun.
strictly for my YouTube is strictly for my gaming. That's where I do all posts on my gaming. You want to watch me game? I do a lot of survival games. I do a lot of variety games. I play a different game every time I stream. So I stream on Twitch. So if you want to watch me live, I'm on Twitch randomly. Just have to ride with my schedule. And the Twitch replays I upload on YouTube. So on YouTube, it's just all my replays on my previous streams. But my live streams are going to be on Twitch.
Cool. One last time, man, I really thank you. I really, really appreciate you being on here, man. Yeah, dude, you've always been awesome person, dude. I'm so lucky to have met you X, all these amazing individuals that seem to be trying to really affect society in a good way. It's just I'm honored, man, and I'm flabbergasted that I'm allowed to have contact with you guys, you know. So thank you, dude, so much, you know, and
It's all good,
continue.
brother. Real recognize
Yeah.
real, just like your shirt.
Yeah, that's right, you know, for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
Yeah, that I'm excited to get you back on here at some point. I really do hope
Definitely.
that this grows into something where I can give you your due uh attention, man. Like the people that I got on here, you guys deserve a lot more interaction from my side, and this is why I'm so humbled to have people come and talk to me. With there's 0 people watching right now. You know, when I first was starting, it was like 50 something views on that video, and now like I got 5 on one. I am going to try and push it. You know, I'm very dedicated in the things that I do, and that's why my first channel was very successful. It was because I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I kept pushing without knowing about TOS. Now I know about TOS, man. It's really, really hard to do the things that I want to do without getting lashback and not knowing tech. I don't have a tech guy. I don't know anything about technology. So I'm really stuck like just with the limited knowledge that I have. So hopefully I'll be able to push it out there and get you guys your attention that you deserve. So yeah, just thanks, man. And
Thank you.
I'm very appreciative, man. So
Yes,
we will
sir. Yes,
see
sir.
you on the next one, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. It's been a pleasure, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Guys, again, one more interview in the bag. That is an amazing individual right there. That man he's cool. Like he's just the definition of cool. That dude is cool. Um I I love the dedication that he has to his family, the dedication that he has to his job, the dedication that he has to the people that he is protecting while on the job and out. Like I said to him, man, I'm humbled and I'm honored to know such great, great people, great individuals. So since he's not here, I still will give him one last, sir, thank you so very much for coming on here and speaking with us. Everybody else, thank you so much for, you know, supporting, watching. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this out to your people. I will see you next time.